it's time for Cox and Crendor.
Cox and Crendor in the morning.
In the morning. Broadcasting live. Before our recording studio audience. Recording. Wake your ass up. It's the Cox and Crendor in the morning. Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to Cox and Crendor in the morning.
Hey, how's it going? I am Crendor, the one and only, joined by you, Jesse Cox. We are a part of this show called Cox and Crendor in the morning.
Are you replaced by a robot today?
I do not.
I'm so happy to be here. Emotions, I have them.
I just wanted to make it a very, I was going to say proper way of introduction, but
there was nothing proper about that. That was, if that's what you think proper is, I am very curious as to your definition of proper, because that was horrifying.
Like, I just picture people
if
at the dinner
table.
table.
They're like, is a gun held to his head?
Well, welcome to the show.
I am good, and I am me, and you are you, and we're on a show together. Nothing strange about this episode.
I always think of proper when is like people at a dinner table and there's like do like pass me the fork, Alfred. It's like, yes, the fork that goes on the left, it does. Like, that's proper to me.
Here's the best part. There's gonna be someone Googling right now where the fork goes just to prove you wrong.
Fork goes on the middle right next to the butter knife.
So dumb. The soup spoon goes on the top. And then the butter knife goes next to the knife, but that's not next to the steak knife. Trust me, there's somewhere someone's looking this all up. And he's going to be like, Crendor, it's dumb. And I looked it up on the internet, so I know more than he does.
Like, why'd they even have that? Why is that a thing? Like, proper etiquette placement of utensils.
Rich people.
Rich people.
I guarantee, I don't even need to look this up, because I know how society is.
Yeah.
It probably started because kings and queens kept trying to outgrace the other nobles.
Yeah.
And so what happened was this weird cycle of I'm the king and I have many different forks and knives at my disposal and each one has a purpose and I can afford them all because I can afford this silver, right? And then all the other nobles would be like, "Oh, well, we should definitely do that thing." And so it kept building on itself, and then everything of course had to have a purpose. Right? Yeah. And then, of course, I'm sure it was something like, well, you don't mix your salad fork with your dinner fork. That's madness. When you think about it, when you're at home, you don't do that. But when you go to a restaurant, sometimes they do that, and you're just like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Why are you going through all this trouble? That's because, you know what? That's because we're American.
Yeah.
We grew up
we
grew up on meats that had bones in them and that you could hold. And if there weren't bones, we stuck a stick in it, and we cooked it that way.
Yeah. And then sometimes people didn't like bones, so we genetically modified them to make them boneless.
Yep. And then we genetically modified bones back in, but the bones were made of meat.
Whoa.
Like the McRib, which we still haven't gotten. I don't think there's a McRib here, man.
No.
You told me McRibs were back. I looked. I drove to a McDonald's for the first time, and I don't even know how long, and drove in and looked around, and there was no McRib, and I left. No. I didn't even bother to eat there. I just left because I was disappointed in you.
I was going to save the McRib story for later, but should I do it now?
You might as well. Oh, actually, before you do anything, okay. I want to point out that I was told that we forgot to mention Pierce was also a president with a P, and I'm a dummy and should just jump off a bridge. So now that's out of the way. By the way, again, no one gives a shit about Pierce either.
Were you a history teacher, Jesse?
You know what? I haven't been a history teacher in years. What? Let me tell you, I left that world. I no longer cared. Being a teacher is like preparing for tests in school, guys. You spend every day of your life preparing to teach a new lesson every single day. And so you just get all the information you can, and then you're like, all right, I'm good to go. And then you just keep moving on and moving on and moving on. And then when you're done with it, you never want to think again.
Yeah.
You fill your brain with so much knowledge that when you're done with it, you're like, I'm going to be an idiot now because I don't give any more shits.
So now you've gone from that person who's supposed to be like, he's an educator, I know all the things, to some guy that just knows a bunch about stuff.
Yeah, I know all the random facts of history that I enjoy, the facts of history that I like. I know, because I took so many, I'm convinced your brain only has so much room. And you got to push other things out to keep things in. So now that I play games, I like to know game facts, right? But when I was a teacher, I had all this education knowledge, and I decided to keep some of it, like things that are important, like how people died and which people died while having sex. All that stuff is very interesting.
Who did that?
I believe it was Genghis Khan was having an orgy with his harem, and then he just died, like he choked to death or had a heart attack and died.
Whoa.
That always
Genghis
amused
Khan.
me. Yeah, I think that
Genghis
was him. It might have been
Khan's-
one of the other barbarian hordemen, but there's so many, who knows?
I only know Genghis Khan, really. It was his
Well, then
brother,
we'll
like, but
Kublai Khan?
Kublai
Khan was his
yeah.
son, wasn't it? I don't remember. It does look.
It's
He's a
something.
guy in Civ. He's a guy in
I
Civ.
know.
That's all you need to know.
I was always like, oh man, I'm gonna play Genghis Khan in the Civ because he's got a cool name. And then they're always like, he was a great murderer and evil person. I was like, oh.
Did you know? I believe it could be one of those fake stats that people
Yeah.
tell each other, but I believe it's something like everyone in Asia is descended from Genghis Khan.
Whoa.
And it might be more than that. It might be like 2/3 of the people around the world. Something crazy. Like his empire was so big and he banged and impregnated so many women that everyone has a little bit of Genghis Khan DNA in Asia, I believe is the stat.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
it's
seems-
something crazy like that. Like, I need to look up his quote because he has a quote. Genghis Khan has a quote that is basically the Conan Barbarian quote.
Should make a shirt. It's like everybody's got a little Genghis in them.
Yeah,
be
Genghis
great.
Khan had I'm never gonna find this quote. Look, I don't know the exact quote, but all I know is it's something very similar to like crush your enemies and see them driven before you and hear the limitation of their women. Like he's like nothing's greater than to take their families and take their women. Like that was Genghis Khan. He was that guy.
Yeah.
So
that's
he
Genghis
just
Khan.
he just banged everyone, had like 1 million harems, and so there's some stat that's basically Genghis Khan genetic legacy. Man, I'm getting into the deep end of
You're really going into Genghis.
yeah. Genghis Khan, prolific lover, DNA samples, National Geographic. 1 in 200 men, direct descendants of Genghis Khan.
Whoa.
Someone saying that he has 16 million active descendants right now. Something. Look, no, this one says he has more than that. So basically, it doesn't matter. The internet is full of random numbers and factoids, but the gist is, dude banged a lot, and then
did.
that's how he died. He died doing it.
He died doing it.
But there are a lot of stories about his death. Some people say it wasn't. That's not how it happened. But I choose to believe that story because it's the best.
I
It's the
choose
best
to
story.
believe that too.
Right? Like I think it was like he got smothered by all these women. Was like the story, which is
Whoa.
just that's the stuff. That's the stuff mangas are made out of.
I believe it's pronounced manga.
Whatever. No, that's our character, Mario
Yeah.
Manga.
Malario manga.
Mario Manga. Speaking of smothered, I've smothered myself in Warcraft last couple
yeah.
days. I discovered several things about myself. 1, why I still love it and probably have an addictive personality. 2, why I still hate it. And 3, why I am convinced the best term paper you could ever do in your life is create a term paper that is called World of Warcraft, Alliance versus Horde, and Peace in the Middle East.
Oh.
Because I'm convinced you can study the way Alliance players and Horde players constantly hate each other and fight each other for no reason. They kill each other just cause, and relate that in some way metaphorically to the Middle East.
That's a pretty
how-
good point.
Yeah, and how like peace is very hard to achieve there because of the constant retaliation back and forth. Like you can't trust them and I don't like them, right? It's the
Yeah.
exact same thing in WoW. And I think something that's very interesting is the game, all the leaders in the game, Thrall and Varian and all them are always talking about peace and how, in the end they just want peace. But the
Yeah.
players are like, F it, nope. And that's, it's very much like the Middle East is everyone keeps talking about peace, but it never happens. And I was like, that's a very good term paper topic for you students out there. I tweeted that. I feel good about myself. That was my Look at that. Look at that, assholes. Like,
Yeah.
Cox don't know no education no more. I do. I just gave you a good term paper topic. That's
You
an
did.
A+. That's an A+++.
That's a solid A++. And
Plus,
then,
if your teacher isn't a nerd, you can write a good 4, 5, 6 pages alone on the mechanics of PvP and WoW and how that relates to player psyche. And like, there's all this stuff there. And then you relate it to the real world. That's an A. That's an A plus plus.
Just load it up on like filler about what the game is and describe it to them so they actually know what they're reading.
Yeah, and then they can understand it. And you can say, like, even though it's orcs versus humans and other races versus other races, really it's all, metaphors for us as people.
We can't have
each character represents a deep inner part of yourself. And people choose to be those avatars because that's who they choose to be. Boom. There you go. We're just writing the paper for you. We're just writing it for you.
You know how many term paper essay things I've written? A lot.
0. A
lot. And I got pretty good grades on them.
I want to point out I was very good at that. Also, I had a mother who was like, that's what she did for a living. So she would literally, I would write a paper and then she'd be like, let me see that. I'm like, oh no. And then we'd stay up to like 4 a.m. and she told me everything I did wrong. Like every day before a paper was due, I swear to God, every day before a paper was due, she would get my paper, sit in front of her old ass computer and get on Word Perfect and be like, all right, let's see what you did here. And then she'd go through everything and be like, nope, this is not how you do this. And I just sit there and be bored out of my mind. She was like, no, this is incorrect. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, look here, dummy. And I'm like, Mom. And so I learned to write very good. Very good. Yep, that's
very
what I'm
good.
Stick with. I learned to write very good.
I also feel like everyone's gonna be like, Word Perfect. What's this?
Oh yeah, that was before your time, kids.
Before your time, kids. I remember I was just pretty good at writing papers and nothing else. I got into one group where that was my sociology class where I played Pokemon. So I had my laptop, played Pokemon, and then we had like a thing that was 75% of our grade, like the final project, and this one group was just like, we need someone to write our paper, the guy left. And I was like, I'll do it. And then I wrote it and we got an A and I passed, and all I did was play Pokemon.
Don't be like Crendor, kids. As a former educator who then lost his memory, apparently, don't be like Crendor.
And then one teacher in high school, it was like junior year or something, she was like, don't use Wikipedia because that's not a reliable source. Use Wikipedia, got a B+.
Here's the thing. When I was a teacher, I would take random paragraphs from students' papers and plug them into Google to see if they came up. And 99% of the time, I caught people. Like most of the papers I received were plagiarized in some way. So the first year of teaching, I became known as the teacher that you don't plagiarize.
Here's the thing, kids.
Because I would catch. Here's the thing. If your teacher's young, they will catch you unless they don't care, in which case they're just a bad teacher. But if they're young, they've done everything you've done. Trust me, when I was in college and stuff, there was times where I'd be like, I'll take this information and then just change all the words. And then eventually, like, you actually had to do work. And you look back and you're like, oh, I probably should have learned to do this right the first time because now I have to do it and I have no idea what I'm doing. And
but you still learn from changing the words. And you learn new words.
So going back to WoW, I decided to play Warcraft again, and I was very excited. I thought this was going to be a fun little thing. And I played, and for about 4 days, I loved it. Loved it. Was like, oh, there's so much cool new stuff to do, and it was great. There's a quest line for this guy called the Black Prince, and he's a dragon man. Yeah. I started doing it, and everyone was like, oh, well, in order to get all the stuff for it, you have to hit Exalted with him, which is basically you grind reputation, which means killing 1 million monsters over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Of course, I start doing that, because I think this will be easy, and I find a group, and we plow through it. We go from Honored to Exalted, which is 2 level bar things, in about 35 minutes. That's how fast we were going.
Oh, dang.
We were wrecking. And everyone was like, it took me weeks to do that. How'd you do that? And I was like, I got my connections. So it was mostly because no one else was doing it, so we had an entire island to ourselves, and we were just wrecking house. And so what happened is I go back to do all his quests and get this awesome cape that he has, and everyone's just like, oh, yeah, no, you pretty much have it. I guess everyone had forgotten about the fact that one of the quests was another one of the many time sinks in MMOs. And this one was essentially run raids that you can only run 1 time a week. Run raids to get a random chance for a random drop, and you need 20 of them.
What?
And so essentially, some people, I went online to look this up because I was like, can I do this in 3 weeks before the expansion comes out and they get rid of this quest line? Is that possible? So I looked it up. Some people have done it in 5 weeks. Some people have done it in 3 weeks. Some people, it has taken them 12 weeks. Some people still haven't done it yet, and they've raided every day, and they've been exhausted the entire time because it's random. And so I was like, yeah, no, I'm done. Just quit for the day. I was like, I'm done. I will. There's no point in me doing this anymore. So I then realized, again, that's another reason why at the time I was like, oh, wow, I can't do this right now. And then after having said that, I was back in the game playing. I was like, I'm addicted. No. And
it's just like, it's so much fun to just do that while, like, you can play WoW while you're doing other things. That's part
true.
of what I do too. Like, I can like even work on like editing while I play, or I can like watch a movie while I play.
Oh, I can't do it. Who are you?
I don't know.
What do you? How do you play? Do you do anything?
Maybe I just do both of them mediocrely.
I would agree. I would agree with that. All right. Enough with WoW. Let's talk McRib, because you said you had something with McRib and it was important. It was an important McRib story.
It was. So, they say that McRibs to experience limited distribution.
They mean only in places where people are dumb enough to buy McRib.
Yeah, like the hottest selling McRib locations. So they say, for the third year running, McDonald's is giving their stores the option to serve McRibs for the holidays. McDonald's boneless barbecue pork sandwich is a menu item that's released once annually. It has been making its appearance in the menu for more than 2 decades, but for the past 3 years, the burger chain has been giving their stores the option of not selling the sandwich.
I assume because it is disgusting?
The McRib always makes a grand entrance on our menus, and we don't want to steal its thunder, so stay tuned, says Combe, the McDonald's representative. She also says McRib is traditionally McRib is traditionally released on or before the first weekend of November as part of McDonald's fall lineup selling.
Oh, so it's not even out yet.
Well, I guess not. But I guess they're just starting to like pop up everywhere, like right now. They said, we confirm McRib will only be available at select McDonald's nationwide. So they're still going to be like, a lot of them, they just won't be at every McDonald's.
Oh, I see that. Wow. So apparently, McRib Tracker, apparently that's the thing. McRib Locator.
McRib Tracker.
McRib Locator is what it's called.
Yeah.
Around me, in LA. Now, LA is a very big city, yes?
Yes.
In LA, there appears to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 possible locations that have question marks. But 8, 9, 10. 10 locations that, I'm sorry, 3 locations that do have it. But there are only 10 total LA locations of McDonald's that have it. And I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say that maybe these areas are, in fact, I'm probably right. Downtown Santa Monica. Right near Culver City, right near where where the movie theater is.
Yeah.
Right off the airport.
Yeah.
And then in areas that are either known for hipsters or stoners. So that's pretty much, that's the target audience of a McRib.
It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I looked at mine and there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And in all the cities with the rich people, there's like none.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where it's like, I don't understand. If you live in a big city, if you live in the South especially, it doesn't matter what your socioeconomic standing in life is. It doesn't matter how much money you have. You should be able to find cheap, good barbecue. If there's one thing America is known for, it's cheap, good barbecue. You must be, for example, this Santa Monica location is like right next to like 12 pot shops. You must be high as a kite and lazy if you can't go find real barbecue.
Yeah.
Hell, go buy a jar at the grocery store and cook something, anything, and dip it in barbecue, and it's better than a McRib.
But we still need to eat a McRib live.
Damn it.
Man, look, you go to that one, it's got a check mark by it. You can have it. And I know one. I got a check mark one. I'll go there. We need to do it. We need to do it for the sake of entertainment.
Entertainment sucks. All right, whatever.
Yeah.
So let's get to Chopper Copper 7 in the sky so you can tell us where to find those McRibs. Chopper 7 in the sky. Great, the traffic out there.
Traffic's insane. People are driving all over looking for McRibs. This is madness. I haven't seen traffic like this since Black Friday. This is more like McRib Thursday, if you ask me. So we got, looks like Nerd Burglar as well as Ethan are down there fighting over a McRib, while Jeremy Kneebone, he just stole a McRib and he's running away with it. He just hopped into a car and he's headed home. Looks like he's gonna have some fun times at home with that McRib, and so is his colon. Back to you.
Thanks, Crendor. Now let's go over to the weather desk with Crendor. Crendor, how's the weather looking?
Weather today is a
Don't
lot
tell me
like
you're looking
weather.
up a place called McRib.
You know me too well. So, what about just rib?
Uh-huh.
You know what? Let's go to Reba, Spain. Going to Reba, Spain today.
Okay.
How you doing, Spain? I'm sure we got some people in Spain. Today, it's going to be 48 degrees. Or wait, no, that's right now. Right now, it's 48 degrees. Tomorrow, it's going to be 78 degrees.
Ooh.
And it's going to be spicy meatball tomorrow. But then the rest of the week looks like we got 73, 75, 78, 74, 70, 72, 74. Then we dropped to 68 a.m. showers. Peyton Manning calling the plays on the weather here.
I'm curious about something. If we do have listeners in Spain, Spanish listeners, can you confirm something? When I was in school and I listened to the tales of my Spanish teacher, she would always tell us about how basically in Spain, people just work like half days and then sleep and then go out and drink.
Oh, yeah, I heard that too.
Is that true? Is that what happens? People just like, she's like, oh, yes, the way when I lived in Spain, and she always had here's her real voice, like, hello, class. But when she talked in Spanish or did her, like, Spanglish, she'd be like, this is how I talk. I talk like this with a lisp and accent. It's like, what are you doing? And so, basically, she would say that every day they'd wake up and they'd have a little small, like, coffee or something, and then they'd go do their job, and then at lunchtime, they'd go home, they eat a ton, and then they'd pass out from eating and drinking, and they'd wake up at night, and then go and party, and then come home and wake up the next day and go to work for like 4 hours. And I was like, is this true? Because this sounds not true.
That does sound not true. But then again, I feel
If it
like
is true,
a lot of Europe does that.
If it is true, I am angered by that. Because America, we work to the bone. That's one thing that I do know that's true, is that Americans work twice as much. I believe the stat is like Americans work twice as much. This is probably made up, but it feels like it. Work twice as much as Europeans, but and
half
get
the money.
And they get less time off, and they are more stressed and all that stuff. I don't know.
I mean,
I think, and I know other countries work less than us and produce more. I think we're just, I don't know.
I mean, knowing by me, I work less and I produce more.
That's true. You don't work at all.
Yeah,
and
I
somehow
practically
things
don't.
exist on your
That's
on your
what
channel.
happens. I really just go by my motto of not trying. Again, I don't know if I've talked about it on the show, so I'm going to talk about it. When you don't try, you succeed. Let me explain. LeBron James, all right? LeBron James plays basketball.
Yes, but he practiced countless hours.
Did you see him? Did you see him practicing? No, you just got hearsay. See, I got hearsay too. Now listen. What? LeBron James.
Yeah.
When he's in the game, it's game time, right? It's time for him to go to work. He's shooting the ball. He's ranking in the threes. I don't know if ranking's actually a word, but he's hitting the 3 pointers.
He's ranking in the threes. You're right.
Yes, he's ranking in the threes.
LeBron
and
James
then,
ranking in the threes.
if he starts trying, if he starts thinking about what he's doing, he's gonna start messing up. He's gonna be like, "Oh man, I'm not aiming right. I'm not using this hand on the ball correctly." And he starts messing up because he's overthinking and trying too hard.
No, that's his muscle memory from years of practicing, teaching him what to do, and he relies on that. That's his instinct. He relies on that. And he feels that instinct because he's practiced so much. You're totally wrong.
Yeah, but he's better than other people that have practiced.
Because that's natural talent.
So are you saying you just need to be naturally talented at stuff?
Yes. Find out what you're good at and do that. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, here's my other analogy. You got a garden, right?
Uh-huh.
You got a garden.
Uh-huh.
There's people who are like, well, to make a good garden, you got to plant the seeds and you water it and you take care of it. You grow and everything. You keep the bugs away. There's some people, they can work very hard at just like putting the seeds in the ground, and then they water it and they work really hard at that, but they don't do anything else. And then what if they work so hard they overwater it and the plants die?
So you're saying practice, but don't practice too much.
Yeah, I'm saying work and work hard, but make it quality work.
So what you're saying is work smarter, not harder?
Yes! That's what I'm saying.
I don't even know how long it took us to get to that point. People's lives are ticking down. Every day is a gift, people. Every day is a gift. And you just wasted your gift listening to Crendor gibber on about who knows what. And you know what? You're a few seconds closer to the grave. You're going to die, and on your deathbed, you're going to say, I should have not listened to that son of a bitch, Crendor.
I wish, oh my God, David Lynch needs to make a movie called The Garden. And it's just some guy overworking on different aspects of the garden and putting in too much non-quality work. It'd be amazing. By the way, I saw this David Lynch thing, and he was crazy in it. He was just like, what I like to do is work with people because you create new things that you cannot do on your own. For example, I worked with my friend Gary, and we produced this musical number, and me and Gary worked together, and we produced this thing that nobody else can produce. While me and Jennifer, we work together, and we produce something nobody else produced. So in a way, it's like when we come together, we create this podcast. But if you were to replace one of us with someone else, like Total Biscuit, nobody'd watch it anymore. They'd be like, this isn't the same. Because it's not the same. And that's what David Lynch is getting at.
The problem with David Lynch's story is that just because something was created doesn't mean it was worth anyone's time. And I feel like that might apply here.
Maybe, but he's David Lynch. You gotta listen to him.
That's the weather.
That's the weather. I forgot we were even doing the weather.
All right, let's go over to sports. What's happening in sports?
Sports, I found a great sports story today. World champion arm wrestler Matthias Schlitt is now a star because of his arms.
What's the matter with his arms?
You've probably never heard of arm wrestling. World championship,
I have. The world championships, no.
Well, the 27-year-old German Matthias Schlitt or something is the sporting world's new superstar, having turned a childhood disability into a weapon of dominance.
Dude, nice.
He was born with his right arm 33% bigger than his left.
Ah! That is awesome!
Look at this
guy. So basically, he has a massive right arm that can destroy everyone.
Arm. I just linked you a picture.
He has the God hand.
He has the God hand.
Oh my God.
Look at that thing. That thing is a beast. He decided to become a superhuman arm wrestler.
That is insane.
I know, right? See this guy. This guy
it's
has
like
natural...
Popeye. It's like Popeye.
It is like Popeye. That guy is IRL Popeye.
Here's the thing. It's like if someone combined you and I together, just started. The first piece was the arm. That's what this guy is.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Holy crap, that's awesome.
Apparently his nicknames are Hellboy and Popeye.
Dude, Hellboy! He looks like Hellboy! That's
Hellboy.
Right. Dude, he should paint that thing red and go in hardcore.
He's won the last 14 arm wrestling world championships.
Damn right he has. I bet they have like a weight class or something, so he's like in the best weight class. I had a friend who was a wrestler in high school, and he, as a senior, weighed 80-some pounds.
Yeah.
But he was 80 pounds of all muscle with like a senior's frame. And so he would wrestle like little punk kids and just like destroy them. And that is this guy.
That's like the World Series of baseball where they're like, and here comes 13-year-old Jerry Jones, and he's like 6'5".
Yes.
And he's got like 200 pounds.
That's like in football, like Little League football. You see those guys who are just giants. And then
like even the people that get drafted into the NFL, they're like, and here comes 18-year-old Tom Thompson, and he's like 6'8" and like 300 pounds. I'm like, what?
Yes. Like, that guy is really, that's your gift. Like we were talking about earlier, that guy was put on this earth to do nothing else than to bash into people on a football field. Like, that's what you were destined to do, my friend. This was
guy's
your
an
destiny.
arm wrestler. Like, I'd do that to be like, you know what? I could own people at arm wrestling. You just got to find that natural talent. And some people are like, what if this guy was like, you know what? I want to go play basketball for the Chicago Bulls. Well, you know, you might try.
He'd get a lot of fouls. He'd get a lot of fouls.
And it's like, you know what? Maybe that's not for you. Maybe you just got to realize some things. Like, you know what? I might just be a bench player, or I can go be the world championship arm wrestler.
That guy is a badass.
That guy's badass.
I knew when you started the story, I knew something was up. I knew something was up. Here's the thing. That may be our best. That may be the story of the day.
That may be the story of the day.
That may be the story. That is a good story.
Granted, I did find a pretty great other story of the day.
Can it beat a guy with a giant freaking arm?
It might. Oh, wait. Can I just say, I was watching HGTV today.
Of course you were.
And there's this show with these brothers, right? And they're like twins. And they have like 3 shows. It's called Property Brothers. And they fix stuff. And every time, they're like, hey, we're going to fix your house. And they're like, we want to find you a rundown house, and then we're going to show you ways to fix it up, and we're going to make it awesome. They always show the people, and the people are always like, I hate this about this house. I hate that this has carpet. Why'd you show me a house with carpet? And they're like, well, we're going to fix it up and remove the carpet. And they're like, wow, you can do that? They do that every time. And so when they're like, hey, I hate this carpet, I'm like, idiot. They're going to rip the carpet up.
Here's the thing. The problem with shows like that is they give people this fake understanding of how construction and home ownership works. Yeah. On TV, yes, they can rip that carpet up. In reality, sure, you can rip that carpet up, and underneath that is probably a mess, which requires then you have guys come in, and they have to either do something with the floorboards, or they have to, you know, like, depending on what you want, it's going to cost you money and time.
There's always, they'll always find something bad with it. They're just like, there's mold in your thing. It's going to cost you $5,000. And they're like, oh, man, no, I can't get my soundproof at a table room. And then they're like, but we can remove that mold. But you know that HGTV is just like, hey, we'll pay for that. Like, I guarantee they just do that.
Of course.
Yeah. Which I'm just saying, I want them to build my house.
What my favorite thing is that show where it's I can't remember what it is, where it's like one person is a real estate agent and one person is like a decorator.
Love it or list it.
Yeah, that show. And basically every time, all it proves to me is the families they have in that show are lazy. Because they always find houses that they're like, oh, wow, this was a really nice house. I had no clue this was in our area. Or they're like, wow, the changes you made to our house are really great. You could have done either of those two things by yourself. You did not need to do this on TV.
I know.
You didn't need to do that.
I always thought that too. But it's like, I saw House Hunters. House Hunters has like 98 seasons now. Because all they have to do is go find houses and film it. Like, you know, the production cost of that? It's like nothing.
Oh, probably nothing. The highest cost is probably paying the people to be on the show. Although they probably don't pay them a damn thing.
I know. They probably give them like $100 or something if they do.
Like, go find the house.
Man, why didn't we invent House Hunters?
We're the least camera attractive people on the planet.
That's why we do a podcast.
Damn right. All right. So what is the story?
Oh yeah, that's sports. So the story today is Barnabas Davis has been arrested with 633 packs of Ebola-branded heroin.
What?
Yep. Accused drug dealer Barnabas Davis was apparently hoping to stand out from his competition.
Remember how we were saying in life you're born with certain gifts? If your name is Barnabas Davis,
you're
must
either
be
a drug dealer or you're playing middle linebacker. Dude, I'd have Barnabas Davis on my team. Like, they go through on Sunday Night Football, Chris Collinsworth, so like, I'm Chris Collinsworth, let's take a look at the players on the field. And he's just like, Barnabas Davis, Oklahoma State.
Yep.
Like, that's a good football name. Either way,
Barnabas Davis.
When police in Toms Rivers, New Jersey arrested Davis, 47, on Monday, they allegedly
47? Again, every time we do one of these stories and someone wacky gets arrested, it's always someone who's like over 40. Look,
I know.
Grow up.
Grow up, Barnabas.
Grow up, Barnabas. I guess if your name's Barnabas, you have to be a child forever.
Yep. Well, investigators said they got a tip about drug dealing taking place in the rear suites of the Ramada Inn along Route 9 and executed a search warrant of Davis's room. NBC Philadelphia reports. The Ebola-branded heroin doesn't actually contain the deadly virus. It's just a way for customers to ask for a specific type of heroin, according to Tom Rivers, police officer Ralph
So they're just
Stockel.
like, hey, man, give me that Ebola.
Yep. Different dealers have different potencies and products. Many times they are labeled with catchy phrases. Stocko told
Ebola?
Stocko, the police officer, told the Daily News, in the past we've had Bin Laden, Hello Kitty, DOA, Twin Towers, 9/11, Gumball, Pow, etc. Give me some of that gumball.
Yeah, great, guys. Way to go, drug dealers. You're doing it. You're really doing it.
Davis, known as Hammer by some, again.
What? His name's Barnabas Davis. Why does he need to be known as Hammer?
Again,
What?
could be a middle linebacker in the NFL.
Really? Why does he need... If your name is Barnabas, why do you need a nickname?
Barnabas Hammer Davis.
Why do
Dude,
No.
Star
no.
middle linebacker on the Oakland Raiders. I'm just saying.
They call him the Hammer. He's the star player for the Oakland Raiders. Fans love him. They invite him back afterwards to shake some of that Bin Laden.
Oakland will take drug dealers at this point.
Yeah. Get him hooked on that POW or smack or whatever it was and send him out there.
Well, he was charged with possession of heroin with intent to distribute, possession of crack cocaine, and possession of crack cocaine with intent to distribute. He's taken to the Ocean County Jail, $300,000 bail, and Ramada Inn's like, we didn't know about that.
We should have gotten to him first. We could
Yep.
have told him, why are you doing this and not playing football?
Could have told.
We could have got to him. We could have got to him. We would have walked in that room and he would have been like, hey, man, you want some of this 9/11? I would have smacked that out of his hand and been like, no,
Smack.
Barnabas.
Barnabas.
No. Don't you
Get
see?
your life together, Barnabas.
We would have sat there with him for hours as he detoxed. And we would have slapped him around and be like, Barnabas, don't you see? And at the end of the next morning, he would walk out of that hotel and he'd be like, I'm ready for the major leagues. And we'd be like, yep.
You know what? You should have been a motivational speaker. You missed your calling.
I think
Think about
this
it.
is motivation.
You motivated people to write their essays. You motivated Barnabas.
Mm-hmm.
You motivated house hunters to, get lazy and do their own home projects.
Mm-hmm. Is
Look at
it
that.
possible to be a theoretical motivator? Because I haven't actually motivated anyone.
That should be your job title, theoretical
Theoretical
motivator.
motivator. That is a good job title. That's what I am. I'm a theoretical motivator.
Sounds like someone's Twitter description.
Mm-hmm. That's actually might be my new one.
Yep.
All right, that's it. We're done. Thank you
done.
guys for listening. We will be back soon
Very
with another
soon.
episode. And as always, to be continued.